Hello guys and welcome back to a brand new episode of Chattin with me, DJ Will W. We're back with a brand new episode of Chatting with me, DJ Will W, and we've got a special guest today, guys. His name is Bleam. How are you doing, mate?
How's it going, man? Good. It's great to be here. Stoked.
Yeah, cool. So I can't believe it. You're on the show. I've just checked your Spotify out. 45,000 listeners. How did you do that one?
It's been pretty roller coastery last few months. It's just basically been sending demos out a lot consistently every day, and then getting a few of those labels that I've wanted to get on to eventually bite on a couple of the tracks, and then they've been doing most of the promo on their end. It's been pretty smooth sailing from there, but I think with some of the playlist placements and stuff, I'm expecting probably a little bit of a drop, but hopefully can get those numbers back up next year. But it's been a lot of fun, just focusing on the music and not much more else.
That's sound. That's good. So how's everything over there, LA and stuff?
It's cool. Right now, obviously, everyone's in a lockdown period, but I think most of the people that I surround myself with have taken it really seriously. So it's nice to just be safe with those people and understand that we gotta all kind of do our part to
exactly.
to really kill
wear
this
the
thing,
masks.
Exactly.
Yes. I think it's I can't believe it. It's just like went everywhere in the world. It's just traveling so much, and
How's the
all the
situation over
borders are
there?
closed.
How are
Honestly, like it went from going to zero. Well, it didn't go to zero cases, but it went to like a big spike, and we've had it for ages. We had our lockdown in March till only like to July, and then we're out of it again, and then government and whatnot, they trying to put us in another 6-week lockdown. It's just, I think both of our economies are just gone.
We're gonna take a pretty massive hit too soon, I think.
So Bleam, tell me the music journey. Tell me when did you start doing music? When did you start producing music? And tell me the journey of what happened in this.
Yeah, so I guess my first real introduction to EDM was in high school, and I was listening to SoundCloud remixes with my homies. We're just we take lunch off, drive down by the beach, blast SoundCloud Illenium remixes in the car, and melodic and future bass, future house, stuff like that. Just kind of having fun and just not a care in the world, basically listening to some of those remixes that we found that didn't have not a lot of plays, or like we found to be very under the radar. So we kind of developed our own little mini culture around that. So that was kind of my introduction to it. I didn't really think of actually producing music though until few years later. So I just graduated college, and I started producing around 3 years ago. And my production journey started off initially with more melodic stuff, kind of like a mixture of I guess poppy, like Flume, like EDM, like Lewis the Child more so, and like some of the more melodic stuff like future bass and more poppy EDM. And then I just started getting into house music because I really resonated with it, and I started listening more and more. And I made some new friends that showed me the other side of the underground techno scene, stuff like that. So I was really, really drawn to it, and I figured I could implement some of the skills I've developed as a piano player from a young age into some of those productions that I make now.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a up and down journey. I've made all sorts of stuff, but I think moving forward, I've really found, I think, my sound with house music, and I have some really interesting stuff coming out in the next couple of years that I think people will resonate with as well. And I'm just excited to kind of push that new sound forward.
Oh, I love that. So the house genre, yeah, I love house. I produce house. Probably not as best as you, because you've really shot up within 3 years, haven't you? So you've went from just in school, graduating college now. I've graduated this summer. Well, I couldn't actually graduate because obviously there's no graduation because of the lockdown, but I finished college or university as well this year. So it's just kind of all like everything's moving so quickly, and then all these 3 years have just been must be quite a an adventure sort of that going from not beginner, but you obviously have the piano skills. I
Yeah, maybe to add on that a bit, I think the the adventure that you're referring to has just been trying to learn every day and finish something every single day, or at least every couple of days. I think I think a lot of producers they get stuck because they just want to make something so perfect, and yet a few months goes by and they're still working on that one thing that they want to make better and better, but they'll realize that you can't really achieve perfection in any way. So it's more so about getting stuff out consistently and getting better every day, and just finishing tracks, being done with them. Um, Obviously, doing the marketing side as well, sending them out to labels and doing some promo on your own is important. But just the concept of moving forward every single day has helped me personally, and that's really where the adventure has been for me. Just learning from other producers, working with different engineers, and just focusing on getting things done rather than making that one thing as perfect as it can be.
Yeah. Do you ever have the writer's block, or in terms of you hit a wall and you're in the studio and you're just like, I
Yeah,
can't think of anything. I can't think of this melody. I can't think of like I can't. I don't know where to go next. Do you know? Do you know? Do you have any advice to those guys who's
sure.
listening? How to get over that, or how to, or have any advice to improve having that workflow quicker, sort of thing.
I, I think it's all about balance personally. I never have sessions, me by myself or even with friends that last over, just a few hours. I know people that are, in the studio, all day, like 10 hours
Mm.
straight. And sometimes it works, it works for other people. I tend to work in literally like 1 hour
Yeah.
sessions, and then my brain gets a little bit fried. So I take a break from things. And just keeping yourself active, I think, either with exercise or just jogging your brain
Yeah.
helps to get that creativity flowing later on. Oftentimes, I think a lot of people, I mean, me myself too. Like when I started out, my thinking was very much like this. It's like, okay, I need to have the melody right from the start. I need to
Yeah.
know. I need to plan. I need to execute everything. I need to like the melody is the forefront, and then I need the bass line and the drums. But there's different ways of making different songs.
Definitely.
Sometimes I'll start with a
Definitely.
voice memo. I mean, and that's what I most of the time still do now. But then other times, like I would just be like, okay, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna totally start something from scratch now. I'm gonna pull in four random samples that
Yeah.
I don't even know what are gonna sound like, but I'm just gonna go in my library and drag them in, and I'm gonna try to make something out of it. And sometimes, forcing yourself to be in that critical, like creative zone, it can really help you, and it can push your skills to the limit.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I usually start off with a sample or something that can, generate ideas or get something out, because especially putting yourself in that mindset, just dragging a sample in could be like, oh, I've got another section to this, or I could turn this into something else.
Of course, absolutely.
So do you think, for the younger generation, obviously we finished college now, do you think it would be quite difficult, well, in terms of the industry, obviously it's quite difficult to get into anyway, because obviously you've done it in quite a quick, well, I'd say quick, 3 years of producing. Obviously you had the piano lessons before, but
Sure.
do you think it would be difficult for other people to do that in that time span? Or do you think you could just create a hit and then bang, your name could be out there straight away next week, sort of
I
thing?
mean, okay, so I guess I have a couple of answers to that question. So for one, I mean, I see tracks going viral by no names all the time. I mean, with the advent of TikTok now, in the global, top 50, you would see like a random kid who is like 16, 17 years old drop one beat like in his entire life on Spotify, and all of a sudden has 50 million streams. There's stories like that happening all the time. And yeah, some of it is luck. Some of it's like, okay, a big label decides to blow someone up. They want to put a bigger artist on the beat, or they want to just, make some videos on TikTok and promo the content. So I do think it's very possible if something is catchy enough, and there's kind of like a quirky little like fun story behind it. It does definitely pick up. But on a more like technical level, to actually get that production experience and move forward in your career, I think it's important to work with other people and learn from other people. So personally, like I'm an okay mixer, but I'm not obviously the best. I don't think I can do the best for my track. So I work with a mixing engineer. We go get down in the studio and we finish songs together. So I'm learning from him kind of in terms of on the mixing side, and then like some of the more production slash creative elements, I kind of assist him on. So it's just kind of like a back and forth um, energy that goes on. Yeah. So I just really want to emphasize like it's okay to like get help from other people if you're getting things done and if you're curating your vision somehow within that project. A lot of people get stuck on the idea that you have to be the one that produces, mixes, masters everything start to finish. You also have to do your own marketing. You have to, put it all out independently and get yourself up to the tops, to the ranks, completely yourself. And it's absurdly, it's just incredibly difficult to do that. And I think it's more accessible now for sure with technology, but I think just trusting other people and building a good team around you to help you bring that vision to life is the most important thing.
100%. Yeah. Going back to marketing, right? So you know it's difficult. Instagram, TikTok is very saturated now, I
Sure.
think, because obviously you'll get when it first blew up before lockdown, it was literally like you could get a lot of streams, like a lot of views or whatever, depending on the hashtags or whatnot. In terms of Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, I'd say it's quite hard to get the reach that you would want to get, especially with the algorithm, especially if you just share it with a few friends. You could get, obviously they'd share it if they supported you, and you know
Yep, of
i
course.
think i think personally it's quite hard to get that nowadays, unless unless you have like a big record label behind you, because they've got the reach already, if you know what I'm
Yep,
saying.
totally.
In terms of mental health, if you don't mind speaking about it, do you feel like music helps you on a daily basis mentally get on with your day, go to work, whatnot, on the average day? Because I know with me, I listen to music, produce music, do the podcast, and I know that I can't just sit down on the couch or the sofa all day doing nothing. So I have to like keep myself productive, try and find a new goal for the day. Is
Right.
that something that you strive for, or is it a different route that you go down?
Sure. So let me ask you a question. Do you mean like you use music as kind of like a progressive avenue to help you, get things done throughout the day? Is that kind of on your end what holds to be true?
Yes, in some sort of ways. Obviously, like with the producing music, trying to got you on the podcast, and trying to make the steps to a little bit of success every day, sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Like more content, more just to show that what your brand is about.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can get overworked or your brain can kind of get tired of obviously doing something music related every day. Me personally, this is a very interesting question you asked because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I use music a lot, just listening, not use, but I just listen to music a lot on a daily
Yeah,
basis. Every single day I'm listening to at least a few hours of music, and it's sometimes going on in the background, like when I'm brushing my teeth, um, or obviously when I'm producing, or like when I'm running errands or something like that in the car. I have music's podcasts going on, and I think that it's important to sometimes stray away from that as well. Like just take yourself out of that comfort zone where you're always used to something going
mm,
on, which would be music in this case, and just kind of think about other things in literal silence. And I found that that has helped me more recently with my mental health because I'm used to just music
yeah,
being the occupier, if you will, for just anything that's going on where I can listen to music. And it doesn't
yeah,
give me too much time to think about things on a deeper level. Maybe think about myself, think about some of the relationships I have with people, where I
mm,
am in my career. So yes, in a sense that it does help me on a daily basis, and it's cool, like producing and hearing feedback on stuff from other people. But I also think that it's important to separate yourself from it, and just pay attention to the other things going on when the music isn't playing. Because as a musician, I'm sure aware of this.
Yeah.
Music, if it occupies a big part of your life, once you kind of take it out, certain things start to feel a little bit off. So it's cool to recognize that
Yeah.
and pay attention.
100%. Yeah. So let's say, right, picture yourself in another world. So let's say if there wasn't music around and there was something else that you had to do, or let's say you didn't do music, what would that be? Obviously, everyone would
Oh
say,
man.
you wouldn't have a plan B. You just wouldn't know. If you tell me this answer right now, right, if you don't know, right, that's fine because there's always plan A, and that's what you want in life.
Of course. Uh, Great question. I think I personally would pursue. Well, I do a couple things right now. I'm involved with blockchain and tech. I'm kind of in that industry. I do consulting
Mm,
work, and I have a couple contract positions with some startups. So I help basically bring technological products to life and bring them to market and develop user bases around those products. So I'm pretty passionate about that just in
interesting.
general, and I like how
Yeah.
technology um, can help people, and specifically now the decentralization of a lot of different things like financial markets, and different tools that are controlled by either government or big corporations are becoming more accessible by just the average person. So I think that's cool, and being a part of that movement is cool. So I would definitely continue that. But my lifelong dream has been to open my own sushi restaurant one day,
Oh,
and curate
nice.
my own very very specific vibe around that sushi restaurant. Kind of like an underground like lounge kind of feel, very laid
Yeah,
back
that
but
would
like
be cool.
luxurious at the same time. So yeah,
Mm.
that's just a personal dream of mine. How about you? That's a great question.
Well, that is, I think, right. So obviously we've finished university or whatnot. I've literally obviously I've started this podcast, and one day in the future I want to do a microphone business. As simple as it sounds, my goal is to have a microphone that's really good quality, right, and affordable for students
Sure.
or educational systems. So, because most people worldwide, they can't get a really decent microphone for quite a reasonable price, if you know what I
Right.
mean. Um, and my second sort of thing that I've been looking at is quite a dream away is having my own like sort of club,
Okay.
bar/club.
Okay. Like a nightclub.
Yeah, so like a bar in the day, and it transitions to a club at night. Something like that. I just think it would be cool. Going to your club at night, and then or DJing and stuff, and then
Totally. Yeah.
just serving everyone, and everyone knows which club is which on the
Yeah.
town.
It's like a community thing. It's like, oh, I own this club. Come down, have some drinks, have some food. I'll be
Yeah.
DJing later.
Yeah, I think because a lot of people, especially if you've got a big following and then you open up a club or a small venue, people will come. you know,
They would.
if
They would.
if especially if you've got quite an honoured and loyal audience.
Yeah, the key there is loyalty.
Yeah, hundred
I'd say
percent.
for that, it could be possibly difficult to sustain that in the long run,
Oh
just
yeah.
because like obviously like if you don't play shows that frequently, it's
Mm.
definitely sustainable. Like if you just play a show every once in a while, but if you start oversaturating that with your own shows, I could see how it kind of dies out.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. Just kind of building your own vibe and then playing there once in a while, and
I think
that's
it would be
awesome.
quite fun because you could get other DJs in as well, and then they'll get their fans in, and then it will just be just
Exactly.
one big like family sort of thing, music family, and I just think it would be pretty cool on the long run.
What would you do different about that club? How would you
Um,
how would you get people excited about it?
well, I'd have this. I've thought of a name already. Sounds crazy, but
Okay,
so I'm
name
gonna
to
call it
start.
Sentry, right, with an I, right, and big LED light on the front. Have a long queue with and then you go in, and you'd have to like or pay usual things, get your own, get your ticket, whatnot, and then you'd have like these nights in the week where you can choose on like the internet or something on the website that we've astonishingly made up right now, and you can
Hmm.
pick what you would like on that night. So you could pre-order, I don't know, a bundle, or you get like some songs that you request in. You can get your drinks included in a package maybe, and you can request to like VIP access, like standard club stuff, as well as having that excitement to go somewhere that is accepting everyone, from all different backgrounds and everything.
Sure.
That's just all in, do what you want, weirdness. Obviously, can't say do what you want, but like, you know what I mean? So straight to the
Right, right.
point, have a good time, obviously be responsible, and
Yeah, just inclusive,
no
inclusive
one
and
is ruled
fun.
out. You can
I
do
feel
what
like that's
you
what
can
you're
go there
conveying.
and everyone's inclusive.
Yep. Yep, that's awesome. So what's the timeline? When do you think you want to do this?
Oh, well,
Or is it like a far-fetched dream for you?
thing is, a dream, you could say a dream is just a dream. I like to call it a goal because you can work towards it.
Good.
So
Good.
I'd say I worked for that club. I'd try and get that club that I'd want in probably about 10 years. That's
Okay.
a reasonable time, I guess.
Dude,
I
10
think,
years, a lot can happen. Yeah, plenty of time.
because obviously, obviously you can't go clubbing now because obviously the lockdown and the coronavirus. But I just think anything can happen, especially during this pandemic. I've been told to learn different skills as well as doing music and the podcasting. So it's always good to have something for employability's sake just on the side in case you don't get paid from what you actually want to do, if you know what I mean.
Totally.
Because obviously you're working towards your career at the moment in the
Totally.
process, it's a process to get there. So, yeah, I just feel like I've been learning new skills like Forex and stuff, Forex markets and trading and stuff. That's not what I want to do, but it's good to have that just in case I need to make some money or anything else, or learn a language or something.
Sure. How's Forex working out for you?
Well, I've been taking there's this course on babypips.com. I don't know if you heard of it.
Have not.
And you go through all these modules and they teach you through it. And I've got MetaTrader 4 on my phone, so I've just been trying to like look at the markets, predict where it's gonna like drop or buy into whenever
Sure.
it goes,
Just playing spreads
rises or
basically.
drops. Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly. Get the lines in. But
Cool, man.
yeah, have you learned anything new during this, this pandemic, or any skills apart
Yeah,
from music production?
I've been doing a lot of reading and just, I guess, blockchain and crypto in general. So I would say my knowledge in those areas has increased quite a bit. But I also took a small project management course and like data visualization course online. So I've been learning about some of the different skill sets needed for the stuff I'm interested in doing down the line.
Yeah.
And I've been learning a little bit about neural networks and just kind of building AIs against millions of data points and
Oh,
trying to
cool.
figure out ways to predict patterns from like historical data sets. For some reason, this project has resulted from an online gambling site. So I'm trying to
Oh,
I'm trying
nice.
to figure out a way if there's a if there's a crack to it, basically, if there's a way to like beat the system. So that's kind of been my side academic project that I've been trying to dabble in. But just a
Yeah.
bunch of little side things here and there. I haven't devoted too much time to one particular thing. And that I
No.
guess that thing would be music, but I was doing that
Yeah.
before a bit as well.
Music.
So how about you?
I've been learning new stuff with music production. To be honest, I've been reading books. I've got loads. I've got a Paul White book, mixing and mastering Paul White book. I've got the basic, you know, music theory in Ableton. I don't know.
Cool.
Do you use Ableton or Logic or whatnot?
I do. I do a lot of stuff in Ableton. I usually bring it into
Yeah.
Logic if I want to like organize the clips
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
mix something down
100%.
really quick. But yeah, I really like Ableton's warping abilities, and some of the stock plugins are actually really really
It's
nice
so
with
handy.
Ableton.
Like the simpler is so handy to
Yeah,
have.
yeah, it's wicked.
Because
It seriously is
most
wicked.
like DAWs don't have it.
Right, right.
But yeah, I just think like during this whole thing, I've just been trying to focus on music as well as trying to get, you know, the connections and try and just make music that makes everyone happy as well as yourself happy. Because once it's out there, it's out there. You can't take it back unless you just take it down. But you can't take
Right,
it back. You know what I mean?
right.
So Do you feel like every song that you put out would be, you know, how can I put this? Do you think that obviously every track isn't perfect in life when
Right.
you produce it, but from when you started music production, right? Do you think that there's been a massive turn in terms of getting the contacts, with record labels? I know I saw on your Instagram that you've got a song out with a music label in Liverpool, I believe.
Yes. Yes. I think it might be House Essential. House
Yes, House
Essential.
Essentials, because I actually know a girl who's on that as well called Alice Cube. She's with this girl called Zach Joshua. She's in
Okay.
the bio. I looked at it. I thought I recognise this label, and yeah, I just thought this is mad. I really like that song, by the way. I don't need money.
Dude, thank you. You know what's so interesting? Like a lot of people tell me that, and then me, like personally, that's I think on the lower end. It's not
Yeah,
one of my favorites that I've released. I'll just say that. But it's just
yeah.
more so goes back to the mentality. It's like, all right, like yeah, it's good
Mm.
enough. I want to put it out, see if people
But you
vibe with
want
it,
to
and then
be
just move
better
forward.
and want to push. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
I think a lot. What I've learned in producing music is that you listen to it so much and you put it out and you keep listening to it well during the production stages, and then you put it out and you're just sick of it. Do you
Yes,
know what I
that
mean? And then
happens
everyone else is like,
every
yeah, this is
single
really
time.
good, and this is great, I want to share this or listen
Yeah,
to it, and you're just like, I'm sick of this song already. I've made it, I've published it, but I've listened to it so
absolutely.
much. It's just one of those
Absolutely.
things.
And sometimes you end up second guessing yourself. You're just like, oh, like, is this a bad track? And the reason why that happens is because you've heard it so much, and now like you're so
Yeah.
sick of it because you've heard it so much, and from the time that it finally gets released, and then you start hearing it even more, you're just like, okay, this song is actually bad. But in reality, it's not a bad track. It's a good song, and people are
No,
vibing
yeah.
with it. It's more so like your own misconception. So that's why it's
I think
important
you
to take
get
breaks.
ear blind. Yeah, ear blind. I think you get
Yes,
because you
yes.
just listen to the same old frequency of sounds. It's just like, oh, it's draining. But no, good. It's good to take breaks because when you're listening to stuff and you're in the studio, let's say for 10 hours or whatnot, grinding hard, and it's just like, I'm tired. I'm bored of this now. I just want to take a break. It's just
Right,
like,
right.
just freezes your brain a bit. But it's good. It's good.
Absolutely.
So So, your record labels. How many record labels have you released on now?
Um, let's see. I think it's three or four. It's Mix Mash. It's House Central or Craven Records, and then Break It Down Music. So, and then I have actually, and I haven't really told anyone this yet, but I'll put it. I have a release with Do Not Duplicate Recordings coming out on
Oh, really?
October 1st, which is I don't know if you've heard of him, Bijou, his label.
Yeah,
So that would make it, yeah, that would make it four, I think, for this year.
that's crazy. You're doing well, to be honest with you. You know, like, do
Appreciate
you
it,
ever
man.
just before your lockdown? Do you think anybody would go out on the street or on the sidewalk or something and just see you and be like, "Oh my god, I know this guy"?
No, I don't think like just in a random like public location that happened. I think a couple of times at school, I I noticed that a couple of times. Like
Yeah.
someone who had a mutual friend with me would
Hmm.
come up and be like, "Oh, like you're Bleam. Like I listened to your song. It's really good. Like it's nice to see you, and like it's cool to see another fellow university student, doing something creative." So I thought that
Yeah.
was nice, and it's all good fun. But yeah, I'm nowhere near the point where people are just coming up to me and
No, no, that's fair
recognizing me
enough. That's
at all.
fair enough.
It takes a
But
ridiculous amount of time and work to get to that
oh,
level.
100%. Yeah. Do you think school life, during school when you're doing music, do you think you were more recognizable, popular, I guess, during, like, you'd know a lot of people, they'd know that you do some music, or is it just like, same, like, I know what I'd be like when I was in school, nobody knew what I was doing. I was just kind of behind the scenes doing music, you
Sure,
know?
sure. No, I don't think so. Before I played my first show, And I think my first show changed that perspective in college because it was for like one of our annual festivals that we hold on our campus, and I
Yeah.
opened for a few different artists, and at peak time it was like a little bit over 4,000, maybe mid 4,000s in terms of the audience number. So that was like just an absurd. It was just an insane experience, and I've never played a show that big
That
after that
big. That's
moment, and
massive.
it
Yeah.
yeah. So and it was my first show, so I was very nervous, but it turned out to be good, and I think since it was a school performance, after that, you know, people started noticing a little bit more, you know, reaching out to me. But I don't think like I don't know. I didn't like put myself out too much. I feel like I
Yeah.
enjoyed like the creative process behind the scenes,
Yeah. It's
and just
always about the
getting people
process.
in like in other parts of the world more so to hear the music rather than the people I'm like close to.
I think that's a difficult thing, like getting it to to the UK and Europe and whatnot. It's just kind of and it's just very difficult to get the reach unless you've got
Yes.
someone in the UK. Hopefully, my UK listeners will come over and listen to your stuff. But do you think that it is? Are you actively sending it to everyone on your social list as well as obviously the record labels sending it out and or is it just kind of like just push it out and then see what happens? Might get some DMs saying this is good, or
So I mainly just post, and if people want to interact with that post, they're free to do so. And then obviously the label does some of the promo as well. I don't really like I don't go through my following or followers and just send um, spam everyone and be like, yo, listen to my song. I don't think that's a good
no,
marketing
because
approach, and it
people
doesn't
start to
lead to
get annoyed at
great fan
you.
loyalty. Exactly. What I do though is I spend maybe just a couple bucks a day on an ad or something, maybe like for a new release, like a quick swipe up ad. I'll run it for like a few weeks, and then I will get a few DMs, from people in different countries saying, "Oh, like this is cool," or "I really like this. Can you send me like the extended if it's a DJ?" Or
Yeah,
they'll ask me, "Oh, can I put this in a video?" And like that's really cool. So I appreciate that, and I think it's cool to interact with fans in that way. But I mean, it's obviously like you have to spend money a little bit at least to get some of that feedback.
yeah,
As far as like direct promo, yeah, I send it to my close friends, maybe like five of them,
yeah.
and that's pretty much it. Yeah, the rest is just through labels, Spotify, and a little bit of ads.
LA. Let's talk LA because obviously, whereabouts are you based in LA? Are you near like this? Are you in Hollywood sort of thing, or is it kind of?
Sure. Yeah, so I actually I live in Orange County right now. It's a little
Oh
bit
yeah, Orange
outside.
County. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's like 45 to like an hour away from LA. I go back and forth between LA a lot when a couple of my buddies live there.
Mm.
So I'm there, and I go to a couple studios there. Obviously not now, but
Yeah,
I'm
obviously
trying to
not.
get I'm
Yeah,
trying to shift, I guess, locations a bit, and I'm trying to get myself out there
yeah.
for a job. So we'll see if I'm able to actually
It's very
live there.
difficult right now.
But
Yeah, it's so expensive.
it is exactly. So I just kind of say I'm like based in LA because obviously I can get there really, really
Yeah,
quickly. But my home is in Orange
exactly. Yeah.
County. Yep.
So I've noticed that a lot of successful people are from LA or are in LA. Do you think does that come into part and parcel into the success, or is it because obviously you've got a lot of famous people down there. Obviously, LA is a big
Yeah.
place, and do you think that comes part and parcel into the process
I
of
do. I
being
think to some extent it does. I mean, I'm sure you've heard like the statement LA is the, entertainment capital.
place to be?
Exactly. It's just
Yeah,
like all the Hollywood people are there. A lot of people are in music are there as well. So I do think just by the sheer notion of density, like the number of people you have that are in entertainment, in this case, music. Like I know so many big producers live in LA. They have houses in LA. Even when they have houses in Europe, like they'll spend half their time in
yeah,
LA just working with other producers, doing like label meetings, promo meetings, stuff like that. So I think it does just because you're in closer proximity with the people that can help you get to the next level.
exactly.
But now, with Zoom and like FaceTime and all these different social medias popping up, it's getting easier and easier to cross collaborate between even different countries.
Mm.
So it's I guess thinning the gap, but at the same time, it's still important to recognize that if you want to be in a good position to land yourself, a studio collab gig with some random big producer that's inviting some people over, then like, yeah, it's gonna help you
Yeah,
out.
I think it's because they've got the audience as well as the mindset as well. Because there's a lot of people in LA who that are successful or that has the mindset and the drive, if you know what I mean, to work hard and be successful because they've got the formula, if you know what I mean. So I think in
Yeah,
your case, it's quite a good advantage to be close or even in 40 minutes away from LA. It's very, it's quite an advantage, which is good compared to the UK. Because in the UK, you've got London or Manchester or Leeds or whatnot, and London is the capital, and that's the place to be, sort of thing. Or you
yeah,
travel
yeah.
over to LA or New York, and yeah, it's just one of those things that you have to willingly put yourself in a position to risk things and put yourself out there. If I'm right.
Absolutely. And LA is also a place that, it does embody like the glamorous lifestyle and, all the entertainment stuff, but I think you can also get pushed under very quickly in LA. So you have to really have a strong, I
Yeah.
think, mentality and the way that you approach situations. You have to kind of know what you're doing because there's a lot of like, fakeness, if you will, in
Mm.
LA. A lot of toxicity. I mean, there's bad label deals, bad entertainment deals going on all the time. A lot of different scandals. So it can also not be good in that
Yeah.
way. And I think that's why some of my producer friends actually have chosen to move away from LA and live in other cities because they were getting so sick of that vibe they were experiencing.
Yeah, I think, I don't want to compare, but do you know Jake Paul and Logan Paul? They're in LA, obviously. Obviously, they're not music. Well, I know they've
Yeah,
released music, but
yeah,
um, you can see by their videos and the way they act, like all these different artists, you can see that they have taken the LA lifestyle as in, oh, I've got money, I've got diamonds, I've got Rolexes, you got all that bling, and it's very hard to keep yourself on a straight path sort of thing and the right mentality to stay focused and not let it get to your head sort of thing. Do you think it's quite difficult to do that,
right.
or are you straight on the ball?
Um, I I do. I think you can. I mean, we're all human, right? So like
Oh
you
yeah,
can get
yeah.
consumed pretty easily, even though you have a strong mindset and maybe at the very beginning you tell yourself, oh, like I'm not going to become this person or this is not going to affect me. But you
Mm.
obviously don't know until you end up in
Experience it.
in this
Yeah.
situation where it matters. So um, I just think it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people and the right attitudes and just holding those people like close to you and just experiencing life with them, whether or not obviously like I value kindness a lot just in general, and I value
Yeah.
people who inspire me and who push me to be a better version of myself. And I try not to like go too much outside of my current circle, I guess, in terms of the people
Mm.
that I hold very close to me. Um, I do think that it's important to make new connections and trust people to build your way up. But at the same time, it's important to hold those values close to you from the start, and have real sit down sessions with yourself to kind of navigate away from compartmentalizing and just just getting real and being like, okay, like how do people view me? Am I becoming this sort of jackass douchebag person, or
Yeah.
am I still holding the values close to me? And just taking it day by day is important as well.
I just think that it's amazing where your success in music or other things can get you, and like comparing. Obviously, you're right in terms of like not getting under the bus, and sometimes you don't realize some things might happen to you, and sometimes when you've got that fame and all that money, yes, you have all these things, but sometimes does don't you think that oh, I used to be this person. Am I still the same person, sort of thing, compared to back then to now? Do you know what I mean?
Uh, yeah, totally. I think there's different layers, obviously, to people as they grow and mold and change and shapeshift and
Yeah.
whatnot. I think most of the time, yeah, people are, I guess, the same person in a very literal sense, but different layers start to get unraveled as different things happen to them, and they respond to things in different ways. And this just goes back to like holding your values down, and the fundamental morals that you wanna live your life by. Um, so just focusing on those things is really important, I think. And I don't know, like I think the whole thing with flashing your bling and all, it's like it's whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
in the hip
Yeah.
hop scene and like where those guys are and what they rap about, like that's the music.
Oh
It's
yeah,
it's
hundred
more
percent.
about
I
like
agree. Yeah.
coming from the ground up
Mm,
and making it, and that's a physical way of
yeah.
showing that they've made it, and it appeals to their audiences. You cannot deny that
Oh no,
that
100%. It's
sort of
very
lifestyle
yeah.
appeal exactly.
It appeals.
I think it's different. I think it's different than like being like mean to someone or like going behind their back and doing something nasty.
No, hundred
Um,
percent. Yeah, you're right.
but obviously, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about like the scandals with Jake Paul and some of those, superstars that live in LA that got famous from like Vine and YouTube and stuff like that.
Well,
So
yeah,
yeah, I do think it does take a toll on you in some ways, just about focusing on your values.
exactly. So I want a big question for you. Who is your favorite artist, and what what inspires you from their music?
Oh man. I
I'm
can I give a
interested.
couple answers for this, or
Oh yeah,
I
definitely,
think
definitely.
Flume is one huge inspiration for me. Just not just like his crazy sound design and production ability, but just the way that he
Hmm.
approaches, I think, his um, production process. Not like what he does, but like more so how he does it. He like you see him in interviews, and he'll just be like, "Oh yeah, like I just figured like I'll reverse this one thing and see how it sounds." And yeah, it sounded decent, so like we kind of went with that. And I like how like free flowing his mind is, even though he's like still so spot on with the technical aspect. He also has a very organic and not formulaic part of his brand, and I really like that, and I really respect that. And I think that it's more so it's guided a lot of the direction for some of the new stuff that I'm working on. And I think he's great. I also think Kanye West has been a big inspiration for me musically. Not so much obviously now with some of his political antics, and I mean I don't want to get into all that, but
Yeah.
when I
Did,
when I was
no,
when
no,
I was
no.
a kid growing up, like Kanye would be the go-to guy. I mean, he's basically like the king of sampling in hip hop. He brings crazy different vibes to some of the stuff that he's worked on. He's incorporated Persian music in another artist project that he produced for. And I'm Persian, so I think it's just cool how like he tries to incorporate culture
Yeah,
in what he does.
like
Exactly.
different cultures. Yeah.
And he's just been great. I love a lot of his music. So he's big too. Also, like I really love Sia. I'm not exactly. She's
She has
just
got the vocals.
crazy
She has
vocalist,
got the
like
vocals.
absolutely insane. And I think her whole like aura and her whole vibe is unique. And I don't know, her music, I resonate with it a lot. There's not too many like technical things like I can point out with Sia. It's just like wow. Like I listen to her and I'm just like, okay, wow.
Her range is like crazy.
Yes, it truly is.
She's just done a new song with David Guetta, I believe. I don't know if you've heard of it.
What is
It's
it?
called Let's Love, David Guetta and Sia.
Let's Love. I gotta check it
You
out.
got to check
I
that one
will
out. It's quite
I
good.
will add it. Yeah, I
Because
haven't been good at keeping up with new
new
releases from a
music
bunch
is
of different
so
artists.
it's
Yeah, there's so much stuff coming out.
it's just like loads of things just coming out at once. I'm like, what? Every other Friday, it's just like it's just like loads of new
Yeah,
music.
totally, totally. How about you? I want to ask about your
Ah,
inspirations.
so obviously house music in general, I've got quite a few. I've got MK Mark Kitchen. I've got Sonny Fodera. Don't know if you've
Totally. Yep.
yeah. Um, I've got um, Yellow Claw, but they are hard style. I like to listen to them quite a bit. Their music has changed quite a bit over the years, though. It's
Yes.
more. It used to be really, hard style. Now it's more, you know, um, tropical sort of hard style sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of
Yes.
more on a
Yes.
level where it's not as much dance music in terms of you going for a festival. It's more kind of just vibey music,
Yes.
if you
Yes.
know what I mean.
I do.
So yeah, I just kind of, in terms of house music in general, I like to incorporate, bits of music from the Dutch scene, Mike Savelio, Sesco, Mark Kitchen, Sonny Fodera. I just like to listen to all their music and see what makes it a tune. You know what I mean? So what makes that a hit that's getting like 20 million views on
Yes.
YouTube or Spotify or whatnot. So learning from new music that's coming out really helps and inspires me anyway, because that that's the new source for.
Cool. So your mentality is more like, let me like, you're learning from new trends and like the new stuff
as
coming out.
as Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Cool.
obviously, as well as the old stuff. Yeah, again with Kanye West. He used to go on the MPC beat machine. I don't know if you've the
Of
Akai. He
course.
used to make drum samples. He did that harder, stronger by Daft Punk. He redid that, and it's just like, I just think it's amazing how you could take one sample, right, or a couple of samples, and create a whole new tune, but with
Yeah.
synthesizers.
Yeah.
I just love it. Like I just do. I think it's amazing. If I know it sounds really geeky of
I
me, but yeah,
No, no, it does. I mean, that's what music
yeah,
is.
well,
So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's so funny you mentioned. I'm like thinking now like about my answer, and it's like the genre that I produce is, it's weird. Like my inspirations are not from artists who are like within that genre.
yeah,
It's so funny you mentioned that. I mean, just like for, I guess, house, I would also say, like for DJ sets, for example, like I really like Charlotte DeWitt. She's like one of my all time favorites. Like
yeah.
her sets are always incredible. I don't know if you've heard of Brian Kessler. Have you heard of him by chance?
Brian Kessler. I believe that rings a bell. That rings a
Yeah, you,
bell.
you got to check his stuff out. He's kind of under the radar. Not that many people listen to his music, but I absolutely love his stuff, and I think he does something different with everything he puts out. But it's kind of all under the same umbrella of
Yeah,
Brian Kessler and his music. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of house guys that I like listen to, like just on a daily basis as a groove kind of thing. Um, but yeah, most of my inspirations comes from actually people who aren't in house music.
Thing is, right? That's great though, because you're using the sound. Well, not using the exact sounds, but you're using the structure of a specific sound and mixing it with another sound that you've made, and another sound, and another little beat that you've made, and it just becomes your sound. It sounds similar or different, but it's
Yes,
it's it's yours. You've made that, you've produced it, you thought of it. No
yes,
one, nothing is
absolutely.
the same. It's your unique sound. That's
Right,
what
right.
I think inspires me. Is you find something, you're like, yes, I love that. That sounds so good, right? And then you make something into something completely different. Something blossoms, something's new. Earthed that thing now, and it's just like the best sound that you've ever
Yes.
made or
and
something.
and and it's crazy because sometimes all you need is that one sound, like literally just one simple sample, or like something you pull up in a plugin and you like play a quick melody and then you process it a certain way, like, and then right at that moment you're just like, okay, this needs to be what this track is about, and then
Yeah,
and then it becomes easy from there. You tweak a couple things and like, I mean, it's pretty much done. There's a lot of my new stuff is literally just based around like a couple of different, glitchy robotic sounds that I found to be
exactly. Yeah,
cool, and I just be like, okay, like I'm just gonna build the entire thing around this, and this is gonna be like the centralized aspect of the music.
I think, do you know what? That's topped it off. That's a great answer, because a lot of people listening to this would be very clueless in terms of how to think of something, or think of a sound, like in terms of getting to that point, using your DAW or your Ableton or Logic. And what plugins do you use? Do you use Serum, Silent, Nexus, or
Yeah,
whatnot?
I started off using Serum, Silent. I think Nexus, I couldn't afford it or something. I don't know. I never ended up getting Nexus.
Nexus is quite a big one,
I'm trying to get Omnisphere. I'm like almost at the range where I could like comfortably get it. But I use a lot of ProQ, just like
yeah.
the whole FabFilter family, I guess. And
Very helpful FabFilter.
yeah, all of Sound Toys stuff I really love. Basically, like Sound Toys and FabFilter and
Little Altar
Valhalla.
Boy, yeah.
Yeah, like the holy grail, like it's just those
Honestly,
three for me.
it's like the
And
best
then
thing.
just like messing around with the stock stuff too. And I mean, I think it's best to like focus on mastering like a few different plugins well, rather than just like
100%.
over bombarding yourself with
There's no point
a bunch
getting
of stuff
so
that,
many
yeah,
plugins.
exactly.
Yeah, there's no point getting
And
so many plugins.
Yeah, like I mean, I've bought a few plugins that were like $100-$200, and it's like I barely use them because I never figured out how to use them well. And it's just like if I had focused on the stuff that I already had, I feel like I could have made something that's so much better.
Especially if you master that instrument as well, because a lot of to this day, when I've started producing music, a lot of people come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're not producing real music," and I'm like, maybe it's not played from a real instrument, but the laptop is our instrument, it's our playground, Like,
Man, that's just a concept that some people will unfortunately just never understand, and it's fine for those people. It's just like, all right, you think whatever you think, and I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, do you want to plug anything on the podcast before we end the podcast? Do you want to promote your new songs?
Sure. I guess I released one today, actually. It's a new it's a remix for Ale Mora and Brian Van Andel. They have a song called Runaway. It's on Mix Mash Records right now. And just I guess go stream it. Let me know what you think, would be awesome. And then on October 1st, I have another more tech house, kind of like a darker track dropping on D&D Records that I would love you guys to also check out.
Love that. So guys, don't forget to go stream Bleam's new track, Remix, Runaway. It's on Mix Mash Records, like he just said, and it's going to be a banger. It is a banger. I'm looking at it now. I'm thinking I'm definitely going to play it. I'm definitely going to play this after this podcast. But
yeah.
I thank you for coming on. Honestly, I know you're probably really busy, and I appreciate your time. Obviously, this is going to be up tomorrow, Saturday.
I appreciate for you having me on. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time as well.
No, honestly, it's fine. Anytime you've got me, contact me, whatever, and we'll get you back on if you've got a new release, and it'll be fun,
Sounds great, man. Yeah, I had a lot of fun today.
Awesome. Anyway, thank you for coming on, and this is the end of podcast. Don't forget to go follow Bleam on Instagram and Spotify, because we need to boost his listeners up on Spotify to 46 or even 50,000 listeners, and it'll be amazing, guys. He's got some new tunes coming out.
Thanks, Will.
Go over there right now, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much, guys. Peace.